it's hard being an artist because so much stuff is happening right now, and people are popping off for really dumb stuff. And then there's really like artists who try hard and put a lot of work into their music. Um, and I guess the only way that don't I do get in my head sometimes, and I do try to compare myself. But at the end of the day, like I said, I have to remind myself that I have done a lot already, and that the more I stress, it's just going to be stress. I'm not gonna. It's like walking on a treadmill, kind of. Not going to go anywhere until I actually do the
So you
things.
also, yeah. So you also mentioned you're a public figure, and that you want to send out messages. So who's your target audience? What exactly are you trying to do to this audience as well?
Just like that, 278. No, wait, 280. Is this 280? I think this is 280.
No, this is 279, dude. 279 to the
Oh,
show. Traveling around the world, and now we're in LA with
Now we're in LA.
Kid Santos. How's it going, man?
What's up, guys? How are you?
We're
Pretty good.
We're good.
Good
We're
to have you on
good.
the
Yeah.
show.
It's good to have you on the show. So go ahead and let the world know who you are and what you do.
So what's up? I'm Kid Santos. I'm from El Salvador, but I was raised in the Bay Area, so San Francisco. And I started doing music as just a way of escape, something to do, and it later turned on into a passion for cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into school for it, and so I thought I wanted to be a movie director my whole life. Just because I was raised to be the shy kid. So I had become comfortable with being behind the cameras and just kind of recording, somebody else, letting them do their thing. Then almost 3 years ago, I moved to LA, and I kind of got like shaken into a whole new perspective of why not be an artist, and why not just let go of those barriers that were holding me back, and just record myself, and then also, keep growing my expertise now that I'm here in LA. And so I started to do more music videos, and then eventually one thing led to another. I got this really shitty job at a factory. I was just separating movies. It's crazy because I wanted to be a cinematographer, but I was separating movies and putting them into little pamphlets for the award season, and like those get sent out to people, and it's like, for your consideration for this award.
You did those?
Yeah, I did that. Yeah,
That's pretty
cool.
Yeah. All right.
I did that.
All right. Well, Melvin, Kid Santos. You start off. That was a lot to talk about. First off, I want to talk about. You said you started music and art to escape, as a form of escape. What were you escaping?
I wouldn't say I had terrible parents, but I grew up in a place where I was just surrounded by so much negativity. My school was very negative. I would go to church, and it was super negative. And then I would come home, and it wasn't the best situation. So I always had to, find a way. And for the first, I think, 6 years of my life, I was the only kid. And so I didn't have any like siblings to talk to, or to even like a baby to play with, or, I didn't have toys growing up. So anything that I could find, it could be like drawing. And then that eventually just turned into my creativity expanding, and just music was the one thing that like took my mind off of everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of, kids nowadays, I feel like when they get bored, they're just going to play on their iPad. But you, when you were bored, right, you didn't have any toys. You were like, let me get creative. It is really interesting. I wonder if like kids will lose their artistic, creativity, because they're replacing it with video games. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then something else talked about, you're like negativity. I also agree. I hate negativity. I feel like, dude, I'm trying to do good here. Why are you trying to bring me down? Why are you trying to bring me down? I'm trying to make some art.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you think you're like an optimist? Is that how you see yourself?
I believe so. I'd like to see the best in the worst situations. I have a lot of arguments with my friends about that. They're like, can't you see that things are bad right now? And I'm like, no. To be honest, no, because I really believe in everything happens for a reason. And throughout every situation, I've been able to keep calm. And now that I look back on tough times, I'm like, yeah, if I would have freaked out and if I would have, followed the advice of my friends and panicked, I wouldn't have made it out.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mad respect. So how'd you come up with your name, Kid Santos?
So at first it was Santos, because that's my last name. And then I wanted to start publishing on Spotify, and there was like some trouble with Apple Music that they said there was way too many Santos. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have to choose another name. And I kind of just chose whatever, because I feel like at the end of the day, it's just for publishing. And I think, on stage and whenever I have to do performances or, when I make my logo, it's just still going to be Santos, because that's all, that's never going to go away. But
so you ended up with Kid?
With Kid, yeah, because I did used to listen to a lot of Kid Cudi, and like the music that he makes is kind of similar to the vibe that I'm trying to go for, like the euphoric, trippy vibe, but also with a message behind it.
I'm in the pursuit of happiness.
My favorite song.
Yeah, what kind of message are you going for?
I feel like every album is a little different of a message, but it always comes down to looking at the positive side of things. So I feel like my first album, a lot of people said, wow, this is such a sad album, but a lot of the songs are talking about how hard it is to go through a breakup, but how easy it is to see, like, to remind myself, okay, like, I'm the man at the end of the day. Like, I have to life keeps going on. And I always, sneak some subliminal messages in there that are like, keep your head up. Things are okay. Things, I understand you through my music, but I also want to let you know that things are going to be okay. The second album was very positive, and it was like, talking about how I thought, times were hard back then, but now I've made it out. And so it's a lot more happy. It's a lot more uplifting. And so people like that one a lot better. But it always falls down on the message of recovery, and you're going to be okay. And, tough times are only temporary. Yeah.
Tough times are only temporary.
That's very true.
In that.
Yeah.
I also believe in that. And I think there's always a light. Yeah. If we choose for it.
Right. So when you write your music, run me through the process of writing lyrics, right? So do you have a team, or is it just purely you and only you, or how does that work?
So I'm under what's it called? I live with an artist. His name is Lil Eddie. He's a multi-Grammy winner, and he songwrites for people. And so how I got into this house is that I met through a friend of a friend, ended up meeting him, and he's a huge help. And I started doing BTS because I wanted to record. I wanted to be a director. So I was like, I'll offer to do BTS for you. And just in the studio, I kind of just learned the things that I was doing wrong of recording. I think I would listen to a beat forever and try to write, and then to get discouraged and never finish it. Whereas to like being in here recording for him, I noticed that, the way that he did things was a little differently. And so now I have kind of adapted that, and it helps me, and it's helped me write, finish these 2 albums. And so now I kind of just, I'll listen to a beat, and if I really like it within the first 10 seconds, I'll save it to my watch later if it's on YouTube, or I'll like take a picture of it and I'll let it go. I'm like, wow, this is fire, but I can't focus on it right now. Because most of the time when I'm listening to beats, or I'm like, let's write something, I feel something right now, most of the time I'm not in the studio. So that way I've learned to really like prioritize the studio time. And even though this is where I live and it's downstairs, I really want to prioritize my time. So I'll really like a beat, I'll save it, and then I'll take it in here. I'll listen to it over and over and over. I'll start vibing just by myself. No technology, type of only just only the
Paper?
monitor. Yeah.
All right.
And just write, and then keep going and back and listening to it over and over again and making the little necessary changes and until it's done. Yeah.
Interesting. So do you also produce your music, or is it just you write, record?
I have a lot of producer friends that are teaching me, so I think I will eventually get into beat making. But for now, it's YouTube beats, and it's people who hit me up on Instagram that want to work, and they'll send me some packs.
Oh.
Or like the producer friends that we have like 2-3 producers. So sometimes, you know, we'll get little its and biscuits, but most of the time it's from YouTube and for people that hit me up.
Oh,
Awesome.
very
Yeah.
much. That's pretty cool. So, how do you get your inspiration to write songs? I feel like this is a question a lot of artists are asked, but I feel kind of something. I'm also an artist, and I think that going out and like living life and doing adventures and seeing the world really helps me get my creativity in, and it inspires me. So, how do you get inspired?
I think it just with everything that's going on, I'm really good at kind of compiling my thoughts, and you know, sometimes I'll have, like, today is my day off, so today in the morning I sat in bed for the first maybe 2 hours, and I was like, let me just catch up on everything that's gone these past 2 weeks. I've been moving so fast, and so I feel like I see all these images, all these colors, and then at the end of the day, when I really get to think about it, I'm like, what am I going through right now? And I think really just with what is going on, like, you know, if I'm moving at 1,000 miles a minute, like, I'm gonna make a song that, you know, talks about, you know, chilling out or like just relaxing, something that's gonna be the very opposite of it. I like to live a very, you know, calm, non-chaotic life. So I kind of just collect thoughts. I collect, you know, I live in LA, so I'm always seeing colors or billboards,
Right.
or just like buildings that look crazy, or even just nature. I'm a tourist, so I'm really close to nature. In the Bay, I used to go to.
You're a what?
I'm a tourist.
A tourist?
Tourist.
Taurus, the horoscope.
The horoscope sign.
Oh, a Taurus.
Yeah.
I see. I was like, yes. So it helps you get in nature. You feel like
So
more
I'm
connected.
very. It says that we're grounded, whatever that means. But in the Bay, I used to go to the forests, not to do any type of crazy stuff, but I used to just, you know, sit in the forest and listen to the sounds or listen to the stillness. And a lot of times just like color is what motivates me, or just like such simple stuff. It doesn't have to be like a big movie or a big production that I'm like, oh wow, now let's get it started. To me, it's like mostly in my head. Like, I have an idea of what I want to do already with my career, and like daily I just see, you know, little bits and pieces. I'm like, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and so you mentioned like how you want to live like a chill life in a sense.
Unchaotic. In the most chaotic city in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't know, man.
You go to Malibu.
I mean, yeah,
Yes.
the nature aspect does help. And is this mainly derived from the childhood you had?
Yes, actually. I think when I got my very first car, I think I would just after school I would find spots that were in between a bunch of trees, or where I could just leave my car parked and like walk on a trail. And even now, I think when I'm not working, I just find hikes, and like you said, in Malibu, just go through the mountains, just find places that are away. I've always done that. Yeah.
And to build up on that point, I also wanted to see, like, what I notice is a lot of artists, like when they want to make music, they choose experiences from their lives. So you mentioned, for example, your first album was a sad album based on heartbreak. So, and why do you think artists do that? Why do do they have to use their own experience? Why do they have to draw from their personal experiences to make music?
I think that it just has to come naturally. And I mean, speaking for myself, there's been many nights when I'll listen to a beat, like, and I'll say, wow, this beat is fire. Let me save it. I'm gonna go into the studio. I'm super excited. And then I'll get into the studio, I'll listen to the beat over and over and over again, and nothing comes. And it's just because sometimes I force myself to be in the studio. Like, I'll have a stressful day and I'm like, oh, I'll go in the studio and I'll be fine. Or, you know, I wake up and I'm like, I'm gonna go into the studio today, record a song before I have to go to work. Or, you know, it never works out. I always have to feel it. It's never at a specific time. I think that the more I force myself to sit down and, you know, do music, the less I'm gonna want to do it. But the more I just let it happen, let the lyrics come to me. I think it's more enjoyable. It's more genuine. The people like it better. The people feel it more. So, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I want to learn about your transition from being an artist to making music videos. A cinematographer. How'd that happen for you?
So through a friend of a friend, he knew that I was making videos. I was making YouTube videos, I believe, when I first started, and then I went into fitness, and that caused me to make like fitness edits, and I started recording other athletes and doing edits for them and for their Instagram and for the YouTube channels, and then when I started doing covers and then recording music videos for them, those did very well. And it was an awkward little kid back then, so I thought that they looked good, but people really liked them, and so that's kind of started to interest me. Like, why? Oh, I didn't know people liked that I sing. I didn't know that people actually wanted to listen to what I had to say. And over the years, a lot of my friends started to come for advice to me. I'm going through this breakup, or my parents are telling me this and this and this. Like, do you think I should listen to them? And I've always been the person that, you know, they come to for advice. And it just kind of lets me think, like, I think, not that I'm always right, but I think that I'm kind of put here to steer people in the right direction, at least, you know, to start off. And my music has been able to do that. And so there's been a lot of times when I want to give up, and I'm like, you know what, I don't feel good. I don't want to be in front of a camera right now. Or, you know, I'll go weeks without posting on my Instagram, and then, you know, I lose my engagement. And so a lot of times I don't want to be, I feel like being an artist is too much, but I have to remind myself that, you know, cinematography is only going to get me so far, I think. And then I'm always going to be the person that's going to be behind the camera. And I feel that I'm happiest when I am able to express myself, and when I'm able to kind of put myself in my place, like, you know, chill out, let this happen.
Right.
You're having fun right now.
I see. Mm-hmm.
You know?
So be in the moment. If you want to be making music, you're making music. If you want to be shooting, filming stuff, you're doing that instead. That's kind of cool to like, because it's a good balance, right, of your emotions. Because sometimes you do feel like you have the energy and feel extroverted and you want to be on camera, and sometimes you just want to be behind the scenes.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah. Ali, I want to ask you. Do you like being on camera?
Me?
Or yes, or not really?
I mean, it doesn't really fit. Like, I don't have an answer for it, to be honest, because I never thought about this, if I actually like being on camera or not.
That's what I'm asking you.
So I think,
all right, I'll tell you, like, from my perspective, I like being on camera a little bit, because it's like, it's fun, it's good to talk to people, it's cool. Like, I love doing it, I love having energy.
Yeah, it depends on the context. Like, if this is the context, then yeah, I'm fine with it. It's not like I'm against it, but for me, it's like a little gray area of, if I have to, I will. If I don't have to, I won't. It's like, you know. So that's it for me. I don't really take it into consideration or think about it too much, because when you overthink
But Ali, you've been
about
doing
things-
this for like almost a year now, so how can you not?
Listen,
Dead.
the first time I did this podcast like thing, I was fine with that. I enjoyed it. Hey, look at me,
Yeah.
I'm on YouTube. Now it's just like another day in the life. You get desensitized to it.
Yeah, you do get a
sometimes.
little desensitized,
But
right?
like sometimes it does just get a little too much. So here's what I want to ask you, Kid Santos. Does it ever just get too much and you just feel like, you know what, I need to just block off the world for a few minutes and recuperate?
No, for sure.
So what do you do to recuperate and bring yourself back together before you go out there and tackle the world once more?
Honestly, there's this thing that there's this I call it let myself be ugly. Like
Okay.
Elaborate.
Explain a little, yeah.
yeah, because I feel like this takes preparation. Like to be in front of a camera, even to record myself, like I want it to be, at top quality. So I have to get hair redone and I pick the right outfit, and it's just exhausting. And so what I mean by I want to be just let myself be ugly is like I have to, in a way, remind myself like you're human, you're also human. So take your naps. It's okay that you don't want to write right now. I have to remind myself too that I've done a lot already. But so I'm just like, but let myself be ugly is like just relax, take a day, let your hair grow, let your hair fade. Nobody actually cares. Stuff like that. But yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes people forget to realize that they have done things in their lives, and one of the reasons why is because they like to compare themselves to others. They're like, okay, this person has done way more than I have, so I have to do more. And they don't realize that they're just burning out, and they're not actually going to do anything since they're burnt out.
Yeah.
So what about you? Like, when you burn out, do you notice this, or you just keep pushing through?
No, I notice it. There's a lot of times I come into the studio and, like I said, I'll have maybe not even just one, but maybe 5-6 beats, and I'll listen to them all and trying to catch a vibe for 2 hours and nothing happens. And so that for me is simply not, I'm gonna try tomorrow, but I need to take a break. I need to let it be.
And what about the comparison aspect? Have you ever had that?
The comparison, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being an artist.
It is. It's tough being
a podcaster. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough being just a public figure, I think. Anybody who has to have a voice. And it's hard. It's hard being an artist because so much stuff is happening right now and people are popping off for really dumb stuff. And then there's really like artists who try hard and put a lot of work into their music. And I guess the only way that I do get in my head sometimes, and I do try to compare myself, but at the end of the day, like I said, I have to remind myself that I have done a lot already, and that the more I stress, it's just going to be stress. It's like walking on a treadmill, kind of. I'm not going to go anywhere until I actually do this.
So you also mentioned you're a public figure and that you want to send out messages. So who's your target audience? What exactly are you trying to do to this audience as well?
I've always said that my target audience is anybody who is broken in any type of way. Yeah, broken in any type of way, and I feel like
we're all broken.
That applies.
Everyone thinks they're perfect.
Exactly.
You're not. You're just lame or boring. If you like, everyone's broken.
Everyone's broken in some ways.
Yeah.
I guess everyone is your target audience, which is great. Hey, everyone's ours too, right? Don't let them tell you got to target your audience. You just spit your facts out there, and whoever accepts it. Whoever doesn't can fuck right off, right? Like it's that simple. It really is. That's why I don't hate this question. I just don't like being asked that question. We had a few podcasters come on the show before and they're like, you need a niche. you need the target audience. I'm just like, no, I don't. I just need say my 2 cents, right, and get the fuck out of here. Because after this, I'm me, you're you, and that's that, right?
Well,
Like,
that's the
that.
second part of it, because everything is kind of a business. There's the art part of it, and then there's the business part of it, right? And any art, you need, like, you can be an artist making really cool shit, but if you're not sharing it, or if you don't know how to market it, then. But some people also do really crazy things for marketing that are like strange and maybe not great, and just to get publicity.
Mr. Beast.
The dark side.
What
does nice
no,
things for
Mr. Beast is the prime and perfect example of holding the stick in the middle instead of either side, which is an Arabic saying. I don't know if that's the same in your parts of the world, but like being very central, right? So he's good at the marketing part, but he's also good at the creativity part. And that's why he's like super successful, right?
Yeah.
Some people are more marketing, some people are more art and creativity. So it's hard to balance yourself in the two, right? So where would you say you'd put yourself, honestly? Like, are you more marketing side or more business, like creative and artist side?
I think this is a really interesting question because I've been thinking about this for the past 2 months now. So what's it called? I gave up on all this artistry stuff a minute ago for 2 months, and for those 2 months, I did an IT class and I took a marketing class, and because I didn't go to college, and so I had everything was self-taught. I taught myself Facebook ads. I taught myself like Instagram ads and how to target, and Instagram is kind of a little more complicated now with marketing, but I kind of have had to learn how to balance the two. And living in this house with a bunch of other artists has kind of also helped me out that I see that in my head, I see a lot of content, but I don't exactly know how to push it. And so when I don't know how to push it, I'll hold off on that content, learn how to market it, or learn who I should market it to, and learn exactly like the 1, 2, 3 steps. So I'm gonna release this first, then this, and then boom. So I'm kind of learning how to strategize right now, but I think that I have a lot of ideas for content in my head. But I want to learn how to space it out and really plan it out right now. And embrace that.
And what have you learned about your strategy till now?
I've learned that a lot more kids are listening, like 13 through 22 are listening.
TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is just doing it for them. TikTok, like everyone's on TikTok.
Literally. And I'm just kind of learning. I mean, I've always been on Instagram, but I'm learning how to market, what do people want to see? Do people want to see trippy visuals? Do people want to see a music video on Instagram? Or do people not care for that and they just want to see a 10-second reel? Like, what do people want to see right now? And so we're in the era of, TikTok, and, we've been in the era of Tinder forever. So this is kind of like, this is kind of directly applying over to TikTok. It's like, it's a Tinder for memes, kind of. And
okay, that's an interesting association.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like if you don't want to see it, you swipe. If you don't want to see it, swipe.
That's true. That's true.
So like people, so it's pretty easy to tell. Like, if you put something out now, I think that you'll kind of get a fast reaction. Sorry, people will either mess with it right away or they won't. Like, I think that we're not in the era of like over time. If you drop something right now, it's probably not going to blow up over time, because right now we're in the era of either you drop something and it hits, or you drop something and it don't.
It's a hit or miss situation. Yeah. I see. All right. Cool. Interesting. Let's talk a little bit about performing live. So what's your
it, right? Like, well, we can't perform live right now. We haven't
basically. So
yes.
What aspect of performing live do you miss most?
Performing live, I miss raging. that's like the one time I want to go crazy.
Wait, what's raging?
we'll just like people jumping and being excited and just being in the moment. I loved going to concerts a lot myself, so you know, I miss just being there with the people and the ambience and when people.
Come back.
I think so. They said that Los Angeles might reopen for indoor concerts and stuff like that. It's probably like this coming pretty soon.
Yeah, they're trying new techniques in the Netherlands. They tried it where they practiced a concert for like around 3,000 people, where all of them were tested beforehand and everyone was wearing masks and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And everyone was
Oh, wow.
registered. So I mean,
Sweet.
hopefully they they apply it more often, because they took the feedback from the people and the people were very excited. And it's like it was great to do this again. But obviously, like, people aren't gonna be the same way.
No,
Just
for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how have you been coping during these times?
How have I been coping? I've gone live a lot. I think people really like the going live, and they'll come on and comment, or we really like this song, or sometimes I'll go live while I'm creating a song, and I'll have them listen, or else have them see the process.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have been taking this time to be more of to kind of just open up. To open up to the audience and let them in on, this is how I record, or this is, what the studio, or simply this is what the studio looks like. Like, a lot of people will be excited to see that. And so I've kind of just been giving the audience more of what they want. And I'll put up a poll on my Instagram and be like, what do you guys want to see right now? Do you want another song? Do you want a video to a song? So I've kind of just been catering to my listeners, and it's working. But I do miss the ambience and being with everybody, and it's a very different.
So you would say that sharing personal stories and experiences basically is profitable in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, profitable. Yeah, I think that if I mean, who wouldn't want to know like what big artists are really thinking, or like what a day in a life, like people would kill to see like a day in the life of LeBron James or Drake, like, and we're never gonna get that. But
yeah, that's true. That's
what podcasts are for, because we give people the chance to know. So here's the question: what's a day in the life of Kid Santos?
Oh my gosh, a day in the life of Kid Santos consists of 2 jobs, and yeah, so I'm a server barista at a restaurant on Sunset. And so I'm literally going a mile a minute for 6-7 hours a day. And then I get off around 4 p.m., 5 p.m. And then whatever happens. I mean, I usually go to the beach and chill for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'll go straight home and take a nap and then do some studio work, or, do some designing. I'm just working on a lot of stuff right now. But I'm getting used to this whole... I just got this new job, so I'm getting used to, being creative as well and not just being exhausted. Yeah, but
perfect. So that's the day in the life of Kid Santos, right? So I don't know, like, what I really want to know as well is like, how do you plan on making it to the top without changing, or how do you plan on not changing? How do I phrase this?
Changing yourself, changing who you are.
Like, because fame usually changes people, right? It's like it's a very known thing. But do you have a team of people always keeping you humbled and stay put where, like, grounded, or is it the fact that you're
grounded?
Taurus?
It's like your horoscope.
So what's what are you planning on? Like, what's your I can't speak today. What's your plan, right, for remaining humble for when you do eventually reach those high levels of fame?
Funny enough, this is not going to sound humble, but everybody calls me humble. And
You're right.
yeah,
It's pretty funny.
yeah, it's not gonna sound very great, but everybody says I'm very humble, and
You're the
and-
most
yeah, and so I don't know. I really don't know what it is, but I've always been pretty good at just reminding myself, like, be thankful. And I think a lot of it has to fall back on religion and how I was raised, or just like going to church. It's just like this feeling of being thankful, and that's really it. I think just be realizing, like, yeah, I'm in this room, but what room am I in? Like, I'm in a studio in a $1 million house. Like, a lot of people are on the streets right now, or I'm eating this shitty sandwich from
No name.
I don't know.
Don't drop
Joe's
it.
Pizza.
Yeah.
from like a gas station,
There we go.
but
Taco
like
truck.
they like yeah, exactly, but like some people can't even afford like a dollar taco right now. So it's just like stuff like that. I'm just sort of reminding myself of the little things, like down to the very smallest thing that I have to be thankful for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're very thankful, Constantis, for you for coming on the show. We're
Yeah.
kind of wrapping up on time here,
Yeah.
but I do want to know something about your roots. You said you're from El Salvador,
Mhm.
or yeah. Do you want to tell us more about your experience? Have you been to El Salvador, and does that play into your music at all?
El Salvador is an interesting place. It's beautiful, but also very violent. One of them, and so I haven't gone back, but it does inspire me a lot, and it kind of reminds me as to why I'm doing it, because it reminds me of my family and where I come from, and I still see some very little family still over there. And it's a very different lifestyle, and it kind of just reminds me of why I'm here, and why I should keep pushing, because there's so many people that don't have opportunities,
Right.
period. Yeah.
That's
how we feel.
very
That's
good,
what we all
right?
feel. I feel, but
Yeah.
And the last question from all of us would be, what is the future looking like for Kid Santos?
So right now I am working on another album, and I might start releasing singles here and there. So I have some music videos lined up, and I think that's what's coming next.
Can we get an album date?
album day. Album day. Oh man, I want to say summer.
Summer
Yeah,
2020?
I wanna-
This time.
Summer 2020. Well, 2021.
Are we in 20? We're in 20? Oh shit! Oops.
Yeah, you're in the wrong time,
I'm
Ali.
in the wrong time zone. Listen, leave me alone. I'm all over the place. Summer
All right.
2021. Expecting
Check it out.
something from Kid
Expecting a new
Santos.
album.
Thank you for watching another episode of A2 the Show. If you guys enjoyed this episode half as much as we enjoyed filming it, Ali, what should they do?
Like, share.
All that shit, right? We'll leave a link in the description for Kid Santos socials. You should go check him out, listen to his music as well. Kid Santos, is there anything you'd like to shout out or let the world know?
Yep. New album, new music on the way always. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see some creative stuff. I'm always up to something. And shout out A2 the show.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey,
Nice.
thanks for that. That's pretty cool. Right. Well, peace, love, happiness, and we'll see you.
All right, bro.